All right, here we go. Worlds 2023. We've got first round of play-ins, GAM, Gigabyte Marines versus Loud, LLL. We've got the CB Law already with a creative engaged to start the game. Love to see these level ones. We heard the casters talking about whether or not you know someone's going to do a level one and actually knowing what the level one play or what the cheese is, whether or not it's 1, 2, or 3 creative gang pass, that doesn't actually help you. That is how the game should be played. You should be making proactive plays. You should be using tempo to your advantage. And what these advanced scouts should be doing and what your analysts should be doing is looking at teams ahead of schedule. Oh, I want to talk about this for a second. All right, this is a mistake, and I'll tell you why. But they should be preparing based on what you see from other teams. Do they ward certain bushes? Where do they have openings? Can we devise a plan that gets around this ward structure, for example? Right? Like, for example, we could come up here. In this case, they found Rumble and they tried to engage on Rumble. If they don't find Rumble, they might have a plan to come all the way around here. You see how they can tuck in division. They might even be able to come all the way back around here against these wards, and you could come to this side and maybe get an invade on Raptors. You could stick your jungler here on Raptors, and you're already taking red by the time that Jarvan's realized it, for example. But coming in here, let's see, we've got Jarvan Orianna, perhaps one of the oldest and most classic combinations in the entire game, plus Jarvan and Rumble, another OG combo. We also have Xayah, which is a fantastic combination since you're going to be so solo lane and jungle centric. You want to have a self-peeling AD carry. Xayah should be all over this tournament because of how good she is at self-peeling and contributing to team fights. Plus, she's got plenty of AoE damage. So she's basically, I don't want to say poor man's Zeri because she's stronger than Zeri right now, but compared to where Zeri was last year, she'll be poor man's Zeri. Kai'Sa Rakan, a very popular combination. We're going to see a lot of this. Now, Kai'Sa, we saw one Static Shiv already, and I will tell you right now, Static Shiv Kai'Sa is dead. Static Shiv, period, is dead. And you cannot get by with that build anymore. This game just ended. You go for the all-in and you lose here with the wave coming in. This is already checkmate. This wave is here. Reinforcing wave is coming. Kai'Sa did not get the kill, but is going to be able to come back with her share of first blood assist money. So with the 9 gold, this will be at maybe a longsword, but it's going to be at least a dagger. She's going to come back in with this advantage. And that was with Ghost. Still has flash. They both still have flash available compared to just having Hex Flash and Cleanse here. They go for this all-in. This is already checkmate. Whenever you can generate a lead so that you have the winning presence for a fight and a negative wave state, meaning the wave is coming back to you, that's checkmate. There is no more interacting. So we're going to see for the next 8 minutes, this wave is going to stay in this area with this disadvantage of -3 or -4. And the only way they're going to be able to break that is with Jarvan coming by, or when Loud decides it's time for a crash because we want prio for Dragon, for example. So bot lane is already over. It's going to be very, very difficult for GAM to come back. That being said, Kiaya is a fantastic player. Caddy showed flashes of brilliance last year, and we already know that Levi has that Worlds level clout, although we're already, 6 years away from his Nocturne hard carry game. So it's been a minute since Levi's been in his peak form, but he's still a very strong player, still the best jungler in the region, still the only player from that region to make it into a major region as an import. See this peel right here, just fantastically done. Kai'Sa constantly being further away, Xayah not able to deal enough damage. And it was because of that spike on the level, just a moment longer that Xayah had to spend to get to level 2. That's the difference. Now, this is what I expect out of Rumble all tournament, and why Rumble should be one of the most contested, if not the most contested pick in the tournament, because we already saw what it did to Cassante. We're seeing what it does against Renekton. It's going to be fine against Kennen. What's left in the top lane? Like, is it Jax? Yeah, Jax can mitigate some of the damage, but he's not really going to feel the effect of Counter-Strike. And you have the best team fighting ultimate in the game, damage-wise. So we're going to see lots of Rumble for sure for this exact reason. We also see that Kiaya is going for this push because it's coinciding with Jarvan's full clear, all right? Jarvan a little bit slow on the clear here, only getting out at 335 means that there is a little bit of a misstep. I don't know if he spent some time looking at bot wave because of the all-in. I'm going to assume that he took a step towards them once they started going for this fight. But here you go. You already see that they're in so much trouble. All right, slows first. Boom, take aggro. So well done. Very clean. I'm sure we'll get a replay. Now, Viego coming bot, not really necessary. You already have this advantage. You can choose, like I said, you can choose to create these advantages for yourself. But remember, Xayah had 9 CS. Or maybe it was 8. I want to say it was 9. But she has not gotten a CS or more than 1 CS since her last shop. She's recalling again with no gold. Let's take a look at this dive. See the slow. We draw aggro. We come out. Take 1 extra hit. Boom, we're done. Clean. Very nicely done. Viego going in. We're going to get a big advantage. Was that flash from Rakan, and does he have Hex Flash? If it's flash and you don't have Hex Flash, then it's actually worth for GAM because you're potentially giving up some of your tempo advantage here. Let's look at this big trade. Renekton trying to get everything, but again, so far behind. You see the flash on top. Oh my gosh, that's going to be lethal. Kiaya taking it to him. All right. They've lost bot, but they have a chance of winning through top. But Viego gets that kill. Nico's coming up as well, so they'll be able to create whatever kind of lane state they want. Now, this is what we were talking about. How do you beat this? Right? Xayah didn't get to shop. She had to recall again and picked up refillable. And you have longsword. So you have the lead here. You also can have the experience lead. This is a level 2 Xayah. Level 2. So Viego paid a visit to here, not because he had to necessarily. Rakan burned flash, not because he had to necessarily, but it's to ensure this tremendous advantage. What I expect them to do to come with this, we're going to try to get Viego and Nico pushing through mid together. You create prio there, and then you're going to come and try to dive. Basically, once you create a positive state here, once the freeze breaks, then you have about a 1.5 wave timer where you can get everyone in position to go for a dive. And you already see the wards are in position. We're going to have the mid laner come up, which I believe, yeah, this is Nico pretending to be Renekton. You're going to have mid lane and jungle go through mid. You bring 2 people so that you can get prio. Then you slide on over into the river. And then what do? If you're Nautilus and Xayah, you just have to step away. You're going to have to go all the way back to your tier 2 turret and just hope that they don't dive you anyways. Make it so that it's not worth the amount of time for them to go the rest of the way. And you see, they're going to only go last frame, last hits. Okay? You're not going to push. You're going to wait. You need to let your other waves get into position. Once the other waves come up, and once you have Viego sliding back down to the side, you've got Nico pushing up mid, then you've got 45 seconds. So we're going to time this right now and expect that a dive should coincide with the 6-minute wave being pushed in. 5:30 should get pushed all the way in. If they don't make a play, it's only because Viego is spending a little bit too long, and it looks like he's going for a full clear, so they may get away with not dying to this. This is a team-wide macro mistake. If you're Viego and if you're Nico, wait, what's going on here? Oh, this is a fake Nico. All right, this has got to be fake Nico looking for vision. What is going on? That's the real Nico. No, they actually brought Renekton over. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, great. They know Renekton can't fight against Rumble. They're going to come up together, push out the wave. That makes tons of sense. This does not. This does not. Moving people into the top lane, you're not punishing Rumble here. Rumble's about to hit level 6 off of this minion wave. It could happen any second. And you've allowed for a freeze here during your recall for bot lane. Yes, they're coming back with Serrated Dirk, and they should be able to express this advantage on their own, but this is a missed macro opportunity from Loud. Viego gets his full clear off. He's going to come over to this. Renekton has no chance into this matchup. You see that he is going to go Hex Drinker. Absolutely love this. This does give you counterplay. You cannot do it with just Merc Treads. Merc Treads is not aggressive enough. Even if you do come back in for a trade and you don't take as much damage from having your Merc Treads, you have no threat. Whereas Hex Drinker actually gives you some amount of threat. Now what we're going to see from Kai'Sa, we're going to see most likely Umbral Glaive into a second Serrated Dirk. And then from that point on, you have the option of either finishing Collector and going Rage Blade, You can go into AP builds from there, but you're basically looking for a fast 100 AD with 2 serrated items so that you can get 25 lethality to pair up with that Q evolve, and it makes you a tremendous force. Like I said, Static Shiv is dead. This is the build. If you guys want to check it out, we played it yesterday, so you can watch yesterday's VOD going into the live section of the YouTube replays. I believe, let's see, it was Wednesday we played Kaisa, and we just showed what you can do. Most commonly, I think it's going to be Umbroglaive, Collector, Rageblade, and then you can start looking at whether or not they want Zonias to get to the 100 AP, because even though you have a significant chunk of AD and lethality, in the mid game, the majority of Kaisa's damage comes from the W poke. And the standoffs. You can't necessarily get into range to cast Q very often. You are certainly a threat once a fight breaks out to use your all-in and get the Q in that way, but you're not stepping up and just poking people with Q, whereas you can get significant poke off with your W. Root taking multiple minions, and this is the item diff right here, guys. Serrated Dirk versus nothing means that even though you're standing in the middle, that was so clean. Did you guys see that? Watch closely, all right? This is going to be a W flash. Any ability that has a cast time, you can buffer the ability and then flash to replace where its launch point is going to be. So this Slater is going to be on 3 stacks, it looks like. With the 3 stacks, you're going to have W flash, which repositions your W to the other side of the minions, means that it's also harder to dodge because it's coming out closer to you, plus the auto and the Q. Check this out. Q, yeah, oh my gosh. You got the first hit, W flash, Rumble giving something back. This is huge. Can't allow that if you're Kiaya. You're your only source of lead for your entire team right there. And it's just given up by a lane gank. GAM able to steal Herald. The fact that they're able to get that kill despite Kiaya being dead, the fact that they're the ones to kill Herald, means that they get the 300 gold, right? 200 from the local execute plus 100 for the killer. Again, if you're on live, that's been nerfed by 100 gold. The plates have been nerfed by 50. The damage, everything about it, the game's been slowed down tremendously. But for this tournament, anytime you can get that secure, that is basically 2 kills. Anytime you kill Herald, it's worth 2 kills. Because you're getting 1 kill for killing it, and another kill for activating it, right? 350 gold worth of plates, at least. Plus, you might get some extra tempo. You might be able to do some more besides that. So that's huge that Jarvan was able to get that, despite Rumble being up as, despite Rumble getting taxed for the kill. Replay. Using the recall trick, Seus off of Vision, goes for W into Kaisa, and you see this early game damage from the Q, from the serrated build. That is the difference. When you go for Noon Quiver, you just don't have damage. You cannot go for those all-in fights, but with serrated Dirk and now Umbroglaive, that burst is going to be tremendous. We'll see what she goes to pair with it. Probably going to have upgraded boots first and foremost, but I suspect it's going to be another either pickaxe right away or serrated Dirk. If you're going pickaxe, it might be for that early Rage Blade. But like I said, with that Collector build, Collector is going to give you not only extra lethality, it's giving you a better execute threshold so that your Q might actually kill somebody. It also puts crit into your build so that when you build Rage Blade and you go on hit, which is going to get physical damage, which is amplified by the lethality, plus you're getting extra on hit damage from the crit chance. So just a wonderfully synergistic build. You guys should try it in your solo queue games and all of your team games. Robo going for a little chunk, come back out. Now Viego, how strong is Viego going to be? It looks like Divine Sunderer, so he's not going to spike until after this shop, but he should have it right now. Probably recalling for it as we speak. Oh, Triforce, okay. Going for Triforce, interesting. Divine Sunderer plays really well with the kit. Triforce is the better item overall, stat-wise. Divine Sunderer was the #1 built item in Worlds last year. It took a huge nerf after the tournament, and Triforce got buffed. So in most cases, Triforce is still stronger. Divine Sunder is very clear how you want to play it, though, as far as like trade pattern to hit, take an auto, get my heal, step back. And plus, it gives you some scaling going into the end game, but the stats on Triforce are just so strong. And there it is, another serrated Dirk from Kaisa. Like we saw, it's going to give you that instant Q upgrade. So 11 minutes into the game, Kaisa's already throwing upgraded Qs. She can even hit, look at this guy, over the wall. 45% of that guy's health is chunked out. Oh, did he just do the war trick? We haven't had this come up in a game. All right. Let's back up for a moment. I can't tell based on this view whether or not this is actually in the bush, but this is a trick you can do. There's a little pixel in the wall. I don't want to say a pixel, but where the pine tree sticks out, you can click into this and kind of stick your face into the wall. And then there's a couple of lily pads right here on the ground. By clicking one of those lily pads, this ward actually jumps into that bush, and it's a way to get a ward into this bush as a bot laner. It is the only way to do it. You can't do it on the other side of the map. There are a couple other tricks around the map for doing this, but it's very cool. It looks like he tried to do this. I mean, obviously this was 45 seconds ago or a minute ago, so we can't see exactly on what it goes in, but it looks like there's no vision and they used the control ward, to put it down. I don't like that control ward placement. This control ward should actually be placed a little bit lower. Not only that, but investing 2 control wards into this one little nook of the map, especially versus an Umbral Glaive Kaisa and a losing bot lane. I understand what you're trying to do. You're investing 150 gold to make sure that you never get dove, but are you actually not going to get dove? You're actually just giving them extra XP and gold when they do come to dive you. We'll see if they opt for the play. Even though it's predictable, sometimes it's still best, right? You can just walk up there, look at the remnant vision that they have. Look at this hilarious amount of vision they have in the northern quadrant on the beach side of the river. And that's the other side of this Umbral Glaive, right? Marksman, what's your big weakness, right? Level 6 versus level 6 to 10, you're the weakest character in the game. All right, bar none. Other champions just have better base abilities. They can do more than you. So when you get Umbral Glaive, not only is it an extremely cheap item, and this build, by the way, for 3,400 gold, basically the same cost of Triforce, you are getting an enormous spike. So you're basically spending more or the same in 1.5 items, but you're spiking faster, you're spiking bigger. And you have Umbral Glaive, which is actually giving your marksman a reasonable role to play in these early game skirmishes, which is to come out and help with vision. Not just for being able to kill it quickly, but being able to see where they see the vision. Now, Loud has been trying for this dive throughout the game. It looks like GAM, Gigabyte Marines has been playing around it at all times. I would like to see Loud lock this lane down a little bit better. Part of this is due to the investment in the Recon Flash and not having Hex Flash to follow through on that. But with the lead that they had, it's actually a decent performance by GAM to hold it that tight. That said, there we go. Noon Quiver versus Evolved Q from Kaisa, and you see how quickly she dies. 2 solo kills. Solo, right? That's on top of the win at level 1. Level 2, that's 2 solo kills from this build. Highly recommend. Here we go with Renekton, Maw of Malmortius. This is going to be the difference between last series Renekton that went for Gordrinker into Sterix Gauge and just never really had the presence, versus this Maw that actually does have counterplay into the Rumble. Very happy to go in. Again, double mage threat, especially come out. You start healing off of the shield. When you proc shield, you get all that extra Omnivamp, and you start pressing up, and you're a Renekton, so you're just going to heal back up with an empowered Q, maybe even an empowered W, to deal big chunks of damage after their combo comes up. And you don't die. And the fact that you don't die means that you still get to be relevant. It's going to be that replay. Kaisa W. It's going to be Alt Auto Q Auto. Yep. The Loud fans go crazy. Brazilian fans, by the way, best international presence of all fans. They travel. not just they travel, but everybody comes in. There is a national pride in this. Like I said, Brazil is exciting me as a region. It's really cool to see what they're doing coming up. And they're taking it to GAM, and GAM, make no mistake about it, GAM is the favorites here. GAM has made it. GAM has gotten wins in knockout stages, something that Loud has not done in 4 tries, or maybe Loud has one. Oh, did Loud beat an NA team? Might be a repressed memory. I think that happened, right? Didn't they beat like Cloud9 to knock them out? They went 1-5 with 1 win against an NA team. I think that happened, but yeah, GAM has taking games off of favorites, right? They beat Top Esports, who was the #1 seed coming in last year, and effectively knocked them out of the tournament. That one loss took them out of that group of death. So no slouches, and Loud is taking it to them. Over 3K gold lead. All right, so coming up now, you've got Renekton finishing. Let's see, he's got 1.5 items. I expect to see the boots upgraded soon. So he has the mobility for this fight, but sometimes you do see 2 completed items before the boots. You're going to see 2 completed items. We have Duskblade from Kaisa, so that she can go for these executes and then pop out. I'm not a huge fan of this. Duskblade is kind of OP. It just completely solves the issue for assassins where they go in and then they die. Now they just don't. So it is an insanely strong item. I like that it's being played, but like I said, you have another build that does a lot. And it sort of depends on what the composition's going to be, especially if you have someone like a tank. There's no real tank to speak of here. Jarvan is going to build a lot of HP, but he's not going to be tanky. And especially with double lethality items, you're going to be ripping through him. But if there is a tank that you're going to be auto-attacking more, and especially getting those 5th procs off of the passive, that's when Rageblade's going to be best. So into this game plan, where so much of the damage is mage-based burst damage, I actually don't mind this second lethality item, Duskblade, right off the bat. Dragon is secured. This is 3 dragons down at 18 minutes. We've got a 23-minute soul. Absolutely, though, if you're GAM, you're fighting for that dragon because your team is coming online. You're going to have 2 items. You should be able to have access to your full wombo. The problem is Kaisa's going to be on 1 item in boots. She's so far behind in this game, only 140 CS. Maybe if they get her access to a turret, they can get enough gold to get the rest of this distance, but I don't think they will. On top of that, like even if you go, you're definitely deciding between boots and finishing. Looks like she's going to be going for maybe Gale Force, maybe Navori Quick Blades. Usually it's Navori to pair in, and then they can do something like Essence to get basically permanent uptime on all their abilities. Kent, no way. The reach, Rumble dives in. Oh, there we go. The execute damage. Rumble tries to use the ultimate to clear the wave. Heads up play to know like, hey, I can go for this. I can try to take away this resource that they can't get the shove in and actually take the turret down with me. Also, good job Orianna here, ready to go and immediately take plates to pay off something. This is a very loose control ward. That looks like someone who's a little bit tilted. That control ward always wants to be tucked right against the structure. All right, not the gate, but that little protrusion, what used to be the meatball. You want it right against the meatball. It'll still see all of the area in front of the gate without being actually attackable. Right now, that will be in the attack range of Nico and Kaisa. Just don't need it to be that close to the gate. Xayah being punished here. Even taking the safe way to top lane is still getting punished coming through this channel. So going to be a tough game for her. Zeus using all the resources. I like that they commit to this because they already have people in position and they already know that they're losing bot turret. So by committing to this play, you can ensure yourself a second tier 2. This was an awful teleport. There's no world where you're ever going to get that. I wonder if he was aiming for this ward and the game was like, hey, no, you're going to the teleport. It's tough to claim that you have a case for that, but the game will prioritize certain structures over others for smites and for teleports. It will take priority. It looks like he was aiming for that ward and instead hit the turret. Pallet looks like he was trying to anticipate a jump over the wall and peel that way. Ends up just putting himself in a tough spot. Entire team is going to get knocked out. This will be a slaughter. We're going to look at 6k gold lead plus broken structures. 2 tier 2s will be down with the dragon spawning, so there is not going to be any contest. Here's my question to you now. If you're GAM, do you throw everything at the wall and try to contest for the soul? Or do you let the soul go, make sure that your team all gets 2 items, and then throw everything at the wall for the elder? Those are your 2 options. All right, you have to pick one hill to die on, so to speak, and you have to choose. What's your choice? And let me know in the comments below. Obviously, this game is in hand for Loud if they play perfectly. They are going to check all the boxes. Jarvan with a little bit of appeal just to stop the Nico from getting onto the rest of the backline. But there's no real threat. And this is what we're talking about, especially in this game where Xayah is not a threat. This Maw of Malmortius, it's like you don't need any ubiquitous resistance. You don't need Sterix Gauge. You want Maw. Like, the threat that's hitting you is Rumble and Orianna. Rumble is in your face all game, and Orianna is going to have a big shockwave to potentially try to peel you off of the carries. Xayah is not doing enough damage for you to care. You're going to be a level 14 Croc versus a level 11 Xayah on 1.5 items. There's no contest here. We'll see if Xayah can pick herself up a Caulfield's Warhammer before this dragon. It looks like they're just going to give this. Probably prudent. There is an argument for just putting yourself out of your misery, make this game go faster so you can reset your mental and not drag it out, or you can actually spend some of this time to prepare your mental for game 2. Not too much should go into trying necessarily to win. You just want to play well coming out here. You want to give yourself some sort of confidence. So you do want to set yourself kind of traps. Where can we set, the old Fnatic bush? Which bush can we maybe hold on to that can maybe turn into a kill while the enemy support or someone is stepping up for wards? That's what you're going to try to look for. But in this case, with this goal lead, even if they get a pick on even something like Nico, they're still going to be weak in the 4v5 because they're going to have to use so many abilities to lock Nico down that they won't have anything. They're going to opt to go for this fight. I think is correct. Rumble on 2 items is your best chance of winning this game. But they are stepping back. All right, so there's nothing left. This will just be a matter of checking all the boxes. Plus, we have Renekton already flanking here, so this game probably ends right now. They're trying to dive in. You see the stop, big ult from Nico, and yeah. Game was going to end. What were you doing here? If you weren't going to contest, why are you even here? If you're not going to contest, get your butt into the opposite side of the map. Give up the minimum here, which is just Dragon and the Quadrant. Let them push in, that's fine, but you go push top, create a counter threat, get yourself the entire Western Quadrant and Northern Quadrant worth of experience, give up the inhibitor, make them commit to a push all the way into your base before you recall, and then you can put the stress on them. You can say, okay, now you've committed to this push, we've created pushing waves in other spaces, what are you going to do? Are you actually going to fight us? Now the tension gets a little bit higher, you kind of force their heartbeat to go up, they're more prone to mistakes, there's going to be higher pressure. You have to generate pressure of some sort by just going up and staring at them, taking it in front of your face, and then they get to engage on you anyways. You've just accelerated the end of the game. This feels like a solo queue ending. I don't like to see that at all. Hopefully this is not a knock on GAM in general. Hopefully they can fix this. But normally for teams that go for explosive plays and like to play high tempo and play from ahead in their region where they're stomping most of their games, this is not what you want to see because they look very uncomfortable with how to handle playing from behind. If you can't play from behind, then how are you going to survive against the Chinese and Korean teams? Where you're basically not going to have lane advantages. 12k gold lead, Soul. Let's look at their ending procedure. The standard play here is Renekton mid, 4 top. You're going to move everyone in together while Renekton brings in the wave. That way you've got the supers pushing into base. That'll give you extra vision to see enemy champions. You'll be able to come up and get vision into this quadrant. This ward right here is going to be the most important right there. We see a defensive control ward. That's all you can try to play for if you're GAM, is to try to slide a couple wards in and maybe catch them in rotations. And you basically try to hold this line right here. And that's what they're doing. So I actually applaud this play. They're trying to set a trap. They're saying, hey, we have a chance at a play maybe right here. But Seos is able to snuff it out. That was fantastic. And here's the play that we were talking about. 4 top, Renekton mid, adjacent vision already secured. Renekton looks for the flank. First thing he does is he kills that shallow control ward. He's going to come back over, escort this wave in. He's not a threat to be killed because he's got Guardian Angel. Now, one thing you want to do, all right, so we talked about this before, stop clicking. When you're Nico and you're pretending to be a minion, click ahead and stop clicking. All right, that's literally what you have to do in that situation. Oh, hello. Viego overcommitting, goes way ahead of the team, jumps up ahead with the team not in position. Now it's going to be a matter of whether or not they can clean up. They do get to punish these cooldowns. This is what it's like to play with a lot. I love this from Loud. A lot of teams would say, oh, shoot, we just like punted a kill. Let's back off. No. They just used like 12 cooldowns to kill Viego. And yes, they killed Viego, but now you have to say, all right, your champions are just super minions now. They just hit hard. So we can actually go in with the rest of our kit. Specifically, Rakan recognizes it and goes in. Wonderful to see that from Loud, that they're willing to take that for themselves. I hate that they're doing this. I don't care that how close you are. They do it because that's the Brazilian way. Comes from their soccer culture. Gotta dance, right? Gotta have fun playing. Have to have some style. Would have liked to see them just take pride in the win and go from there. But anyways, rest of the game, that's a small thing. Do want your players to have a good time. Not worth mentioning, apart from just mentioning, hey, culture, like this is how we're gonna act when we finish. But you don't need to like beat people down for this. Fantastic game from Loud. Can't wait to see him in game 2.